Stop the presses, stop whatever you're doing. I've got a movie that you need to see. You need to see it right now. I'm going to tell you the name, turn off this video, go watch the movie, come back, read my review. Well, not read, I mean listen to my review. And you'll be very, very thankful you did. Because we've got a film here, and there's kind of been a theme as of late, have you noticed? I'm doing a lot of like genre film reviews, particularly the genres that I profess the most distaste for. The comic book, superhero, industrial entertainment complex. Well, recently I reviewed Kingsman, which I thought was a really just surprisingly great deconstruction of the genre. And now I have one that's even better. And folks, this is one of the absolute best films to come out in the 2010s. That's not hyperbole. I'm not joking. This film is that good. It's going to be like a hyper-violent action movie masterpiece up there with, you know, T2 and The Raid. And what else you got? Well, just all the great classics in that canon. This film, including the canon films, of course. This film's going to be right up there with the best of them. It is, of course, the 2012 film Dredd. Now, honestly, I have no idea who any of the people involved in the movie are. I have no idea. I looked at the director's name earlier. I didn't IMDb him, but this guy is just great. He's the guy they should have tasked with making the RoboCop movie, the remake that wasn't that good. And, you know, just watching the movie, there's so many things about this that just get it right. I mean, we all saw the old Sylvester Stallone Dredd film from 1995, which was just a cornball, like overblown, like sanitized, let's sell action figures and video games, just claptrap nonsense. This is a movie where, you know, and I've read some of the old Judge Dredd comics, they're very satirical, it's very pre-RoboCop. In fact, Judge Dredd obviously was a huge influence on the RoboCop character himself, so it's kind of in that same vein, that whole social satire thing. But what really gets about this movie is they kind of take out the entire social satire element. It's just straight up action. I mean, it gets the ball rolling. You get the introduction, you're looking at Mega City 1, you get Dredd going out there, and then it just never lets up. It's just absolutely awesome. And it's one of those movies where, you know, there's character development to a certain extent where you learn that there's actually more to Dredd than him just being one-dimensional. But, I mean, it doesn't actually get bogged down in subplots either, which is another problem with movies like this, where their idea, you really can't expound upon the character and learn more about them. So just throw, like, all these crazy, like, side stories in, like with Age of Ultron, where you had the Scarlet, you know, not Scarlet Spider, the Black Widow and Hulk love subplot, and the stuff going on with Hawkeye. It doesn't really add anything to the movies or really flesh out the characters. It's just there to fill up time and give the illusion of depth in between all the explosions. Okay, well in Dredd, forget it. Explosions, explosion, people having their skin ripped off, people having, you know, rocket launchers go off in their mouths. It's just absolute absurd violence for an hour and a half, and it's beautiful. I mean, this film is just absolutely great, and it completely gets everything right about the characters we saw wrong with the old Judge Dredd movie. In that, you know, it's not a cartoon character. You know, the entire intent of the film is not to sell Happy Meals or, you know, Pogs or whatever. It's to tell a really, really good, hyper-violent action story. And it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, the way it's done, just the way it's orchestrated. This is like some of the best choreographed mayhem I've seen in a movie in a long, long, long time. All right. So basically the plot, if you want to know the plot like it matters in a film like this. Okay, so Judge Dredd, for those of you who are not familiar with the character, it's like in the future, there's been like a nuclear holocaust, and there's this thing called Mega City 1 and Mega City 2. Even though this film didn't actually bring up Mega City 2, but maybe there's a sequel that'll never happen because it didn't do all that well at the box office. Well, anyway, like the entire eastern seaboard is walled off and becomes like this huge, gigantic, sprawling city with like 800 million people living in it. And basically what they have, instead of, you know, the police we have now, they have these things called judges, who are basically these guys that wear these big goofy helmets and ride around on motorcycles, and they arrest people, and, you know, they basically judge them on the spot, hence the name judges. And if you mess up real bad, they give you the death sentence and just shoot you and kill you dead right there. So this film fundamentally is about Judge Dredd, the titular judge. He's on an assignment and he's tasked with kind of doing a trial run with this one wannabe judge who didn't really do all that well in the exams, but she's actually psychic. And that sounds kind of like a really sort of dumb red herring, but trust me, it pays off dividends later on. So he's out there taking her out on training day, and she's using her psychic abilities to do stuff, and eventually get a call to examine like this sort of like gigantic like public housing complex where like these drug dealers are taking over and they're skinning people alive. And once they finally get in there, they find out Judge Dredd and the partner's in there, so they seal the entire thing off, and it turns basically into the raid, which is kind of weird because I think the movies were actually made simultaneously, so I'm not sure if you can say one's rip off the other or the way around. But basically, you got Judge Dredd, he's on the ground floor, you've got a million bajillion gang members out to kill him, you got the evil gang leader played by Lena Headey, who is absolutely great in this movie, and everybody's great in the movie. It's just fantastic all the way around. So basically it's him and his partner working their way, you know, slowly up the, what is like a 75 floor building. They can find the gang leader with everybody trying to kill him. And there are just so many great, you know, action scenes. It's just non-stop. I mean, once it gets going, forget it. Adrenaline overdose. You're going to love it. Now, like I said, the whole psychic thing is great because you get like these really, really great mind F sequences where like she's talking to like gang members, and basically what it is, it's a brilliant motif because you look at this movie and it looks great. I mean, it looks better than, to me, I thought this movie looked better than The Force Awakens. I thought the CGI was that much better, even though you can tell the budget was like only like nowhere near as much as it was for these big Hollywood, you know, films. So that in itself is pretty impressive. So anyway, she's using her psychic abilities, and basically what the psychic abilities do is it kind of gives like a way to keep the action going, where you don't have all those boring sequences where you're like, does he have a gun or does he not have a gun? It's like, yeah, he's got a gun, shoot him. And you just get going through, and it's just going through the meat grinder for 90 minutes, and it's beautiful. And don't really want to give away the ending. I think you can pretty much tell what's going to happen. But like I said, there's just a beautiful orgy of violence and mayhem in this one. Some of the best degenerate cinema film work I've seen in a long, long time. Now, I really like this movie. I'm giving it my highest recommendation. I'm giving it 4 stars out of 4. But there is one thing about this movie that I didn't like, and it's the big slight anyone's going to have with it, is there's way, way too much slow motion going on in the movie. In fact, there's so much slow motion going on in the film that actually, the big plot point of the film is the gang members are selling a drug called slow-mo. And basically every time you smoke it, everything goes into slow motion. And they do this literally like 18, 19 times in the movie. So I mean, yeah, it kind of gets a little bit redundant and predictable after a while. But I mean, literally that's the only gripe I have with the movie. Everything else is just pitch perfect. I mean, basically this is the movie RoboCop 2 should have been. It had kind of the same plot line about, you know, the nuke, and you got the slow-mo drug in this one. But it's beautiful. If you want a film to restore your faith in the comic book movie, if you want a film that will give you, restore your faith in the action genre, it will give you a really, really like smart, no holds barred, like just adult action opus. This thing is great. It's up there with The Raid, it's up there with Elite Squad, it's up there with Drug War, all those great like modern neo action fascist anti-drug movies. I love it. It's great. You need to go see it. It's called Dredd. It's from 2012. I think it's on the Netflix. I'm not sure. It should be. But if it's not, you know, go find it. You need to watch it. It's beautiful, and this is a perfect example of what the superhero genre can be if A, you target for adults, B, you're not concerned about selling toys and stuff to the kiddos, and C, you let the guys go out there and make a damn movie. My highest recommendation, go see it.